Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Listen, if your Mac's screen ever feels like a completely chaotic mess of overlapping windows, you are absolutely in the right place today. We're going to dive into the source material on how you can transform your digital workspace from a cluttered nightmare to a perfectly optimized machine. And we're doing it by mastering macOS's built-in command center, Mission Control.
So here's our game plan for this level-up journey. First, we'll look at the ultimate multitasking tool itself. Then, how to launch Mission Control. Third, mastering virtual desktops. Fourth, customizing some serious power user settings. And finally, we'll wrap up with real-world workflow strategies. All right, let's jump straight into part one, the ultimate multitasking tool. You know the feeling, right? We have literally all been there. You've got your browser open, there's an email app hiding somewhere behind it, maybe 3 or 4 overlapping documents, and suddenly you are just frantically clicking around trying to find that one specific piece of information. It is incredibly frustrating, and it totally kills your momentum. But there's actually built-in relief for this. That relief is Mission Control. It's this brilliant, powerful feature built right into macOS that acts as your ultimate command center. It gives you a complete bird's-eye view of everything happening on your computer. Basically, Apple took the DNA from older Mac tools, stuff like Exposé, Spaces, and the old dashboard, and combined them into this one massive workflow saver. Instead of all those windows just piled on top of each other, triggering this feature is it's like pulling the camera back. It takes all your open apps, your messages, folders, documents, and just neatly spreads them all out. You can see every single open window at an absolute glance. It literally brings instant order to the chaos. Moving right along to section 2, launching Mission Control. Okay, so how do we actually summon this thing? There are a few ways, depending on what hardware you're using. If you're on a MacBook or an Apple trackpad, which honestly is the absolute best way to do this, you just swipe up with 3 or 4 fingers. It physically feels like you're pushing the clutter away to see the big picture. Now, if you're a keyboard person, no problem. Just tap that F3 key, the one with the little Mission Control icon, or use Control plus the up arrow. And if you're using a Magic Mouse, just a quick 2-finger double tap will snap you right into that bird's eye view. Which brings us to section 3, mastering virtual desktops. Time to become the architect of your digital space. Once you're actually looking at Mission Control, notice how the screen is divided up. Right across the top bar is where your spaces, or virtual desktops, live. Think of these as totally separate digital rooms that you can work in. Below that, in the middle area, is where all your currently open windows live, grouped together neatly by application. And jumping to any of them is super easy. Just click a window and boom, you're there. But here is where the real magic happens. While you're in Mission Control, move your cursor way up to the top right corner of your screen. You'll see a little plus button slide into view. Click that, and you've just built yourself a brand new, pristine desktop. You can drag your messy windows right up into it, creating these perfectly dedicated environments for whatever you're working on. And switching between these different rooms, it is so fluid. Just swipe left or right with 3 or 4 fingers on your trackpad, or use Control plus the left or right arrow keys. Oh, and if you have an app that just demands your total undivided attention, clicking the green Maximize button on its window automatically promotes it to its very own dedicated space in that top bar. Plus, you can use Split View. By clicking and holding that green button, you can snap one app to the left side of your screen and choose another for the right. Mission Control actually treats that side-by-side pairing as a single, unique virtual desktop that you can swipe over to at any time. All right, section 4, customizing power user settings. Let's look under the hood. Okay, pay attention here, because this is absolutely crucial for your sanity. Go into your system settings, click Desktop and Dock, and find the Mission Control section. See the toggle that says automatically rearrange spaces based on most recent use? Turn that off. Just trust me, turn it off. If you leave it on, your Mac is going to constantly shuffle your carefully organized desktops around behind your back, completely wrecking your workflow and your muscle memory. Keep it off and they stay exactly where you put them. Oh, and if you use external monitors, turn on displays have separate spaces so every screen can manage its own set of desktops. Here's another really cool power user trick tucked away in those settings: hot corners. This is a lightning-fast navigation hack. You can assign a specific corner of your screen, like the top right, for instance, so that the very millisecond you flick your mouse pointer up into that corner, Mission Control pops open. There's no clicking, no remembering keyboard shortcuts, just a quick flick of the wrist. It is a total game changer for heavy multitasking. Now, real quick, let's clear up a common point of confusion. We've been talking all about mission control, right? That shows you literally all your open apps and windows across the whole system. But there is a totally separate companion feature called App Expose. App Expose filters out all the noise and shows you windows from just one single application. You trigger this by swiping down with 3 fingers or pressing Control plus the down arrow. It's incredibly handy if you've got, say, 5 different Word documents open and you only want to see those without getting distracted by your browser or your calendar.
Finally, Section 5, Real-World Workflow Strategies. Time to put it all together. Let's look at a concrete scenario straight from the source material. Imagine a student working on a really complex school project, like a cybersecurity lab. Instead of drowning in one messy screen, they used Mission Control to totally separate their contexts. Desktop 1, that's entirely dedicated to their active lab work, like running a packet tracer or a Kali Linux virtual machine. Desktop 2 is a completely separate room just for their PDF instructions and notes. And Desktop 3 is purely a browser for research. They can just seamlessly swipe back and forth between these focus zones without anything overlapping or getting in the way. To really solidify your power user status, let's run through some rapid-fire pro tips. First, you can actually just grab any window and drag it straight up to the very top of your screen to drop it into a different desktop. You can also click and drag the desktops themselves up in the top bar to reorder your digital rooms. Here's a great one. If you use Spotlight Search by hitting Command plus space, launching an app will open it directly into the current space you're actively looking at. And if you're on a newer version of macOS, combining these virtual desktops with Stage Manager gives you an absolutely unbelievable level of control. But quick reality check before you go wild, the most common mistake people make is getting a little too excited and creating way too many desktops. Seriously, if you have 9 different desktops running, you are going to get completely lost trying to remember where you put your Messages app. Don't be a virtual desktop hoarder. Keep it simple. 2 or 3 is usually the sweet spot. And remember, if you ever lose track of an app, don't just open a new window, swipe up into Mission Control to quickly find it visually. So with all that said, here's my question for you. Now that you have the blueprints, how are you going to organize your digital world today? Are you going to set up one space for personal stuff and a totally separate one for work? Maybe you're going to rely heavily on split screen for that ultimate focus. The power is quite literally right at your fingertips. I highly encourage you to go test out your new trackpad superpower right now. Clear that clutter and take command of your Mac. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, happy organizing.